I'm going to reveal to you some things that I don't talk about. It probably won't make sense to you because even if I reveal it, because you don't understand my strategy. It's like you don't understand the motivation behind my decision making, and you don't understand mine, and certainly most people don't understand other people's. Even if it's explained to you, um, you won't understand it because the depths of the the uh, the decisions you make on top are guided by internal things going on. Listen to me, my brothers in Kenya. And Ghana really needs to be aware of what's going on. And certainly, as I always do, I talk to my grandkids. So, humans make decisions, humans, not people guided by the Spirit, but humans make decisions often by reacting to what they see externally. It throws you off. You'll make an adjustment by what you see externally. People who operate according to the Spirit do not do that. The external manifestation or the external growth or the external vision or the external thing that happened first spiritually. Someone had to make a decision, someone had to plan, someone had to gain collaboration or agreement, and then that thing had to take place. That does not happen in the span of a second. It happens in spans of days, weeks, months, sometimes years, sometimes generations. Example. What's going on in Afghanistan right now, as an example. And if you don't know what's going on in Afghanistan right now, I suggest that you look at it. Here's the reason why. The media is talking to human beings as though this is just happening, talking about how the United States is pulling out of Afghanistan after 20 years. And this is just an example. However, the Taliban is bum rushing where the Americans were holding down. And they are spurring the emotions or trying to spur the emotions of people about being upset about the Americans pulling out. Because the Taliban are the bad guys, supposedly, the bad guys. Listen, I'm not in Afghanistan. I don't have a dog. I don't have a dog in the fight. I do know it is a positionally important country, a big country, Afghanistan, near India, Russia, that sort of thing. So it is a very strategic place. And I'm not going to go into the political side of it. I don't know all the political side of it, but obviously I know a little bit about it. It's not that's not the main thing, but all those things are very important. Because life is a lot more strategic about you responding to something you see externally. There's a lot of strategy to life. Listen to me, guys, in Kenya, Ghana, and my grandchildren. If you don't have the collaboration amongst yourselves, and the trust in each other that you can affect policy, education, economics, religion, labor. That's the control of your people group that you are around on a day-to-day basis. Hear me on this. If you don't focus your attention on that, then you don't have the power to stop anything from taking over your territory. It's best to pull back or you die. But a country like America, as an example, you see a pullback today, but you don't know what the planning is and has been for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe. With the understanding that they know that 20 years of training people has done nothing. Because the hearts of the people are with the Taliban. If they weren't, if their hearts weren't, the majority, if their hearts weren't, then the Taliban would not be able to do what they're doing right now. Right now, the military is running to the Taliban, the Afghan military. So it tells you the culture hasn't changed. I hope you hear me. See, when you're creating anything, I'm a creator. That's what I do. I create things. I speak things into existence. That sounds weird to people, but I've been doing it all my life. I just learned that I was doing that in 1998 when I went to School of Ministry. I remember, how much time do I have? I remember when I started going to a church by the name of Crenshaw Christian Center, the Faith Dome, Dr. Frederick K.C. Price. I remember seeing a young preacher at the time by the name of Creflo Dollar there. And I saw these two, what we call African-American men, one young, one old, one who had done it, one who was just getting started. And I saw the power of agreement and being associated with the right people at that time. And I wanted to be a part of it. Didn't know how to, wasn't qualified to be a part of it because qualifications are looked at to be part of organizations or groups of people. It's an unfortunate truth, but it's a reality. And I had a bad experience, going, I tried to listen to what he said, giving 10% of my income, going broke. And, just so many challenges I had to deal with. I didn't realize everything that goes with walking in faith. You get hit with challenges. Worse challenges than walking in the world. I was a lot more comfortable not even thinking about the word of God and that sort of thing as far as, don't take this the wrong way, but listen what I'm saying. When you walk in ignorance, you don't know what's hitting you. But once you get understanding or revelation of the word of God and the word of truth, you have become a foot soldier in holding back the Taliban. Working for a greater plan other than yours. Your plan is easy. My plan was easy. I knew what I wanted to do. I did everything I wanted to do. I did what it took to do whatever it is that I wanted to do. But when you become part of a larger plan of good, of a more strategic plan of fighting back the enemy, you have to know when to step back. You have to know what your role is. You have to have read the war bulletins or or the memos. You have to be prepared because you don't always want to be a foot soldier either. At least most don't. So when you get comfortable with creating a strategy and alliances, you can effectively push back the enemy. Because the enemy will always gain territory when there's someone not there to push back. The challenge is, it's not just pushing back the enemy, it's changing minds or changing souls. The conversion of souls while pushing back the enemy will keep the enemy pushed back. But if there's no time spent converting the souls, changing the culture, injecting the belief system, growing up over generations a different method of operating, then the old enemy will always come back. There's an old saying in the Bible that talks about sweeping out the house. You listen, you gotta, once you sweep the house out, that's cool. But if you don't fill the house back up with what you need to keep that house clean, if there isn't an organizational structure that's adopted by everyone from one generation to another generation, then the enemy's just going to flood back in. What you don't see is the strategy. You know, a lot of people say they want to build the house, but are you willing to create the strategy to build the house or to buy the house? A lot of people say they want to create the business, but are you willing to create the strategy to create the business? A lot of people say they want to get married, but there's a strategy to attracting the right man or female that you want. A lot of people may have an interest of running their government. But are you willing to put together the collaborative force necessary to run a government? A government is not just a political, strike that. A government is not just a territorial thing. A government is a family thing, a social thing. You govern. There has to be some form of belief system. Some form of belief system. I have a brother of mine that brought me this book here, American Slaves, Inc., The Renaissance Plan, Brother Hickenbotham. And he asked me to read it. I told you I'm going to tell you some things that I don't share with everyone. But it talks about the next steps for emancipating a people. It's a belief system. It's a belief system based upon the treatment of a people who were called slaves, who have been fighting not to be called slaves anymore. When in truth, here in America, the laws are written based upon the slave nature of the country. Now, I don't say slaves in such a way where I'm trying to get some kind of reaction from you. But what I'm saying is, in the laying down of the foundation, you have to know what it truly, truly is. And there's nothing wrong with the reality. What's wrong is with the denial. What I mean by the denial is you're acting like you're something, you adopt 3 or 4 different names and that sort of thing, trying to, but until you change the culture itself, until you change the internal workings, until you get people to understand who they are as a king or a queen, they will constantly allow the Taliban, as an example, to come back and take over the country in such a swift fashion that it shocks people who are not so enlightened on the nature of what it takes to change a culture. We can say we know the Word of God. We can say we believe the Word of God, but until you actually operate based upon the Word of God, um, will be unfruitful, and will always maintain that 12% of America because the suppression is real.